Hello and welcome back. We are continuing our USA run here in Victoria 3. Last episode we did some stuff. It wasn't important, stuff like pulling France into the market, but what's important is our cowardice. You see, we are running a 1.1 million positive, thing, and just because we're running it because we're getting stupid amount of Diplopacks from Great Britain and we want to max taxes instead of reduce taxes in order to squeeze these guys dry so they, decay into nothingness and are just constantly bankrupt. Despite all that, it's unacceptable that we run such a positive balance with a construction that's so low. So today we're going to go up to 15k construction. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Generalist, I thought we just resuscitated this run. I thought we're just going to kill the run by adding too much construction. Maybe. But if there's a way that, I would want to go, it would be by adding too much construction. So today, yeah, we're going to go up to 15k construction. Also, what happened yesterday, we were thinking about going communist, but then we got this absolute banger of a leader in Andrew Carnegie. That's right, Andrew Carnegie himself, who literally has the literary trait, which gives you increased decay on infamy, which is really, really nice for our kind of low infamy playstyle. The type of low infamy playstyle that allows you to subjugate the German minors of, Austria and Prussia. Not, of course, the German major power of the South German Federation. Oh, wait, they're minor too. All right, it's fair enough. Fair play. Now, we did have to reorganize our we could be way more legitimate. Unfortunately, if we're way more legitimate, we get Teddy Roosevelt in power, which, they have no business giving Teddy Roosevelt sunglasses and just making him the coolest looking guy ever when there's people like Dale or Andrew Carnegie around. But we are intentionally using this contested government just so we can have Andrew Carnegie in charge just because of this literary trait. So we're going to be doing that. Otherwise, we would be memeing with Teddy Roosevelt. We're certainly, speaking softly and carrying a big stick with this run, of course, because the reason why everyone's just kind of giving us whatever we want is because they're terrified of this. The Army of Florida Men, the, 4,000 strong, battalion strong, conscript army that we don't have to raise in order to threaten people with. And so this is what we do. We just, side against them, and then they're like, oh no, and then we just side with them in exchange for something, like a bankroll, which is how, we squeeze France down into nothingness, because they're, declared bankruptcy and they're in default. And they just declared a year earlier, and of course this is because they have to pay us 1 million ducats a week. What's also kind of funny is we can just absolve, or we can just take on their debt of 10 million, which they'll pay us back in 10 months, and then use that obligation to try and squeeze stuff out of them. Maybe we'll do that after we take Travancore ourselves, which is our subject, and maybe we would be able to trade Travancore and an obligation for something like Andhara or Madras, which are not going to be incorporated in France. Something like this. We'll take a look at it at the very least. So we threatened, aka yo-yo swayed, in order to get New South Wales off of Great Britain, just kind of the casual, and now Great Britain's having big problems. They're of course having big problems because they're paying us 1 million ducats a month, or a week. Even worse. And so now we're going to try and yo-yo sway them even more, but they're already willing to give us quite a lot because they understand that there's zero chance that they win this with a bankruptcy of, just a declared bankruptcy and being currently in default. 0% chance they can win this war. And they also have fewer battalions. And so what we'll do is we will side on, so here's the thing. We kind of low-key, what we want is Ontario. So what we could do is we could save and take a look at what we could get from who. Because if these guys give us Ontario, we would be super okay with that. What we'll do is we'll actually take a look. British Ontario, they're super close to accepting it. Okay. How close are you guys to giving us Canada? So you're pretty far off of giving us Canada. The thing is it will reset. Actually, we want to keep our bankroll in, so we want to help this Britain, so we're going to do this, and then we're going to see what they give us. They won't give us Canada, big sad, but they will give us anything else we want. Anything but Canada, they say. So we might just take, I think the capital is in here for them, so the capital is in Midlands, if I'm not mistaken, so they won't be willing to give up that, but anything but Canada. Or we could see if we could take Canada. Let's see, take a look here. Is this kind of worth taking? This isn't that great. But anything but Canada. Alternatively, we could sway the other way. Jalamassar? Where are these guys? We could just take British Senegal and call it. The thing is, we actually want to leave them with actually as many subjects as possible. That way they continue to have problems, and so... anything but Canada, they said. I guess maybe more Australian dirt is going to be optimal. We'll have a little bit of a think here. Susan B. Anthony has become a cocaine addict. Who knew? Who knew? Alright, so we could have swapped for Ontario with the Great Britain thing, but we decided to help Britain just so we could keep the bankroll going. We also took on obligations from them in order to get British Gabon. We traded an obligation just by taking on their debt, which was just like 1 to 4 months of, you know, them paying us. And we also managed to nab a couple of these states, and so things are looking pretty good in that regard. We decided to declare on Honduras. We were trying to wait and trying to get most of these guys to reverse sways organically, but we finally decided that going for Honduras was a pretty good look for a couple of reasons. The big one being they had a defensive pact with Mexico, who we want to kind of rough up and get to the point where they, you know, are a little bit weaker. So we're going to put Liberate Country. We're going to put Liberate Maya in on Mexico, which is going to release 2 of their states. And this is all we're going to put in. The main idea is we actually don't want this guy to back down, and he's obviously really scared because of the Florida Man Army. And what we are going to be doing here is just trying to devastate Mexico as much as possible. We have only defensive armies set to being in Honduras, and we just want to full occupy Mexico, have a war goal on them so that they will actually be a little bit more difficult to enforce on, but largely just cause devastation, because we want them to either have some sort of revolution, or that way we could side with either them or the revolution. Or we want them to just have enough devastation to get... well, we can't side with them because they hate our guts. So I guess we would just want the Rev to do well, or cause enough devastation that people just start leaving their country, aka the kidnapper meta. So to the extent that we can have any of the guys who are on the front set to pillage or this type of thing, we have done so. So we do have a few guys who can pillage, and we are pillaging as much as we can, and so this is what we will be doing here. The British market... what do you mean the British market? Don't you mean the American market? Big nice. Getting Great Britain into the customs union after getting France into the customs union on the previous episode. We are expecting their GDP to crank up when they do this, but also that their population will decrease as we pull them into the customs union. And so this is going to be fantastic for us. And, you know, the sun never sets. The sun never sets on the American empire here now. And we have the Britain in our customs union. So it's actually really hard to keep this just 10k construction going. I know we're saying we're going to 15k, but you know, it do be hurting. And so what we've been doing is we've been expanding out a whole lot of logging camps without like actually needing or even wanting them to like employ up. And the entire idea here is that we just want to increase the number of jobs to pull in more employment, and we'll just pay for whatever infrastructure costs this ends up kind of like running us. And we're doing the same with fish and whaling as well, in order to kind of try and pull up migration even more to pull in more pops. As far as this war goes, we have put in Liberate Shandong, Liberate Mongolia. We invited Russia to the party and Liberate Joseon, which we're hoping that we can maybe pull them into the customs union. I think that they might have open borders. They have no migration controls. So, with no migration controls, we should actually be able to siphon off pops from them. So they would actually be very, very good to get into the market. So we're going to improve relations as best we can with them. You know, with the hope that... Alright, yeah, things are... We have everything all set up over here. We have mobilized probably way more than necessary. We're going to pillage our way through, and just hope that they leave and go to other, like, Chinese provinces, or actually they have closed borders still. This is, like, the crux of the issue. This run would have been so much easier with Heavenly Kingdom. It'd be so much easier if we just took provinces off them, but we don't really want to do that, and so, here we are, you know, living our best life, trying to crank up to 500 million GDP, or 500 million rather, or not GDP, the people. Now, important, we are, as soon as Carnegie dies, we're probably going to swap to Council Republic. We're just kind of waiting for that. We don't want him to become particularly weak, and so if he became really, really weak, what would end up happening is we would not be able to get this literary trait. But at the same time, If we do that, Great Britain and France will leave the customs union. If we take a look, their populations have been cranking down since they joined the customs union, and they're mainly just coming to us, we think, in terms of pop, and so this is pretty good. I mean, I guess, like, the next thing to do would be get Russia into the customs union, but that seems just absolutely psychotic. And to do that, if we wanted to do that, what we would have to do is we would have to damage relations with them for some time, or actually, I think we could open market CB them, so maybe we do that even, and just try and rough them up, force them to release various things that is going to make their market look really weird, like force them to release perms, something like this, and just border gore them up so that we can carve up and take the pieces and, expand the great American empire. So we are currently researching radio. The main idea here is that we want to be able to go and actually use what we researched here in sea lane strategies. In retrospect, we definitely should have researched radio first, because we'd much rather, like, the scout cruisers require the radios, we would be able to do the economic activity in the building. We just finished telephone, we got a bunch of telephone stuff building. We are starting to get a little slow. Maybe we just pump the brakes a little bit and actually don't go to 15k construction, because we're having so much trouble keeping it going anyways. But following this, I think we're going to go antibiotics, and we've never done an antibiotics rush before, but the +1 health system is actually just going to be super perfect for trying to push up pops as much as possible, because we will be getting, smaller influence of pollution effects, which includes negative it includes mortality, as well as pollution causes mortality, as well as it also causes it lowers SOL as well, and then this will also increase standard of living, so these two things combined will be pretty nice for us. We are starting to go real slow, but part of this is because we're mobilized and fighting, which will generally make us lag a little bit more. It shouldn't take us too long to enforce on Qing. We kind of want to enforce a little bit quickly, instead of like the Mexico situation where we actually just wanted to cause a lot of damage. And we are also continuing to do exploiting the Amazon, working to get this kind of on up for more and more of the stuff. We're starting to get to the point where we are just needing like stuff from other countries. If we take a look here, we can sort, or we can look with our eyes, with our special eyes, kind of at all the places that have the Amazon rainforest modifier, and we know that we want to get those. Another thing that we kind of want is we want to get New Granada released from Russia's market, so I guess maybe open Russia's market is on the in the cards for like our next war that we declare after we yo-yo sway someone. So what we've been doing is we've largely been waiting for someone. We've been just trying not to be involved in a war until we find someone who can yo-yo sway effectively, and then we declare our war. That way, following that way we have the most amount of uptime with which to do kind of shenanigans that have allowed us to subjugate Austria and pull France and Great Britain into the customs union, as well as subjugate Prussia. It's pretty kind of neat that we can just get an obligation kind of whenever we want, just by, the fact that these guys are perma-bankrupt. We can take on this debt, and it'll just take another, 4 months for them to accrue the exact same debt, but we get to float obligations with these guys anytime we want. I don't really think we need French obligations for too much, so we're not going to do anything on France. I think we already kind of... Oh, we did want to annex these guys. We said that at the beginning. We might end up doing that type of thing. We're always choosing to spread the word just to keep the migration attraction up as well. If we look in the ledger, and hopefully it's not bugged out, because it often is, we don't want to save and reload, we can see the global migration attraction. We have the absolute most migration attraction, and it's not even close. We're now just super crushing everyone. Big part of this is us just actually keeping the construction going and doing stuff to, like, crank up the amount of available employment, which is like one of the modifiers that is allowing us to have this. You can see we are getting available employment plus 30, and overbuilding stuff is how we're doing this. Like, just a disgusting amount, which allows us to further, like, siphon in more pops. And so you can see that, these things can't employ up. They just can't do it because there's not enough pops, despite the fact that we're running mass migrations into the thing, and we have an enormous amount of migration attraction. And so this is kind of the name of the game. We also reduced autonomy on Prussia. I don't know if we talked about this already. I don't think we did. Their population is starting to crank down real low. These guys have the second highest migration attraction, and their population is still getting cranked down by us just siphoning off from them. But they have a ton of resources, and so we annexing Prussia makes sense, so we can find more places to build construction that are going to be effective. We thought about going for elevators just to get the more construction sector at max level, which is kind of insane given corporate governance is still on, the tree, to go elevators instead of that, but this is a strange world we live in. So it's the art of the steal up in this bitch, because we have bought an obligation, bought off the debt from France, using their own money that they have been sending us for some time now, and with that, we are going to be trading Travancore, this little snippet that we got, for French Andhara. And Andhara is one of the better states in all of India. It's got a ton of arable land. It's the only state with both coal and iron in all of India. And this one also already has a bunch of economic activity. On top of all that, this doesn't have a bunch of turmoil. This does have a bunch of turmoil. And so we're going to make the trade. It's called the art of the steal, everyone. And we will just get freezies, good dealsies, good, nice, big stuff. Yeah, there we go. On top of all that, there is a population of 8 million. We could have tried to trade for this state, which would have had a Madras, which has a population that's much higher, but we're siphoning off these pops anyways. And so the fact that there's a ton of pops here, look how many are leaving a year. 300,000, and they're going to Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, New York, Pennsylvania, Iowa, and Santiago. So they're coming to our country anyways, but this state is going to be really nice. We're going to incorporate it because we've been floating quite a bit of incorporation juice for some time now, and then we'll reset the PMs, we'll get things going here, but this is going to make a very nice addition. On top of that, it will make it possible. Oh, Bastar's already in the market. Look at that. Look at that. Just like recreating the East India Company, except it's the American India Company. Alright, so big sad here. There's not a way to make a legitimate government with Andrew Carnegie. Really unfortunate. And so the question is, should we just stay at illegitimate just to keep Andrew Carnegie for this decay? Or should we, slot in a new government with Teddy Roosevelt, cool shades Teddy, and, just be sad about it, because we can't actually make this. If we do this government, I'm pretty sure Teddy will be the one who gets, or here, exit reform government. What do we currently have? So, yeah, with these two guys, because Teddy's, Republican Party got more of the votes here, he will be in charge if we have them both in at the same time, and there's not a way for us to make a legitimate government with the Industrialists in without having the Republicans in. So this is just kind of a calamity. But I think what we'll do is we'll go to this, at least temporarily, and then we'll use this. Sad days. Rip Andrew Carnegie. Rip progress, you know what I mean? And we will use this opportunity to pass graduated taxation, which makes some people mad. It is what it is. It will make us make less money, but we haven't cared about that in forever. And these guys do be big sad though. And so we'll pass that on there. And then we'll actually, yeah, we got to resolve this. What is it that we swapped around that made this such a big deal? Is it because we have a negative authority balance, and since we pulled these guys out of government, now they're unhappy? Or it's because we're passing the law? Okay, well, stuff happens. I guess we'll just create a bunch more bureaucracy. We already had some in the queue. We've been struggling to figure out what we should build anyways, in kind of a general sense, and so I guess we'll just be blasting some of the stuff, looking to get past this, and also looking to get graduated taxation finally. Finally, we pip radio, which is going to be pretty nice. Also, okay, we hate automobiles. I hate the PM. I think the PM's real bad. We're just going to turn on all these, even if it says it's not profitable. But, in particular cases, automobiles, one of the reasons why the PM is so bad on automobiles is that it is very inefficient per worker. However, if you're having places where you got unemployed people, that's much less of a concern. So I think what we're going to do is all of our Chinese places that have unemployed people, that we have automobiles kind of coming in, we're actually going to use the PM. We're going to use it. We're going to build some cars. Not a lot of cars. We don't like the cars, but we're going to build some cars. They also have a lot of qualifications, so that's actually going to be kind of a little bit nasty for us in some regards, but we will be producing these out. And so that'll be nice. With the radios, of course, we can upgrade the Navy. as it were. Now, I'm not sure if we can upgrade all light ships. There are no light ships that can be upgraded to light cruisers. We cannot. And so what we'll do is we will fire and rehire on these patrol navies all of the monitors, because they cannot be upgraded to scout cruisers. And so we'll just get rid of these. And the entire idea that we have here, we'll sort by peasants. The entire idea we have here is that we want to be able to, with these guys, intercept really, really well any sort of navy that is raiding, and these scout cruisers are going to be kind of the best ship with which to do it. We're not going to, we're going to put in here, we're going to put in here. We're sorting by peasants because we just kind of want to give jobs, and we're going to create more of these units, but they get more convoy escort defense, and so they're going to be a little bit better at handling the convoy raiders, and they are going to give us a lot of prestige, which is a huge thing for us that we care quite a bit about, because if we get more and more prestige, you can see there's only 4 great powers left. If we can just absolutely blast our prestige into outer space, it will make more and more people minor powers or major powers, which will allow us to, kind of push them around even more than we are, having pulled Great Britain and France into our market as they have. And so this is what we're doing. We're waiting for an opportunity to reverse sway. So we haven't declared a war, but maybe we're just supposed to open Russia's market and do some funny business. Something like this. I'm not sure. Tragedy. France will no longer be paying us money into infinity. This is terrible. Whatever will we do? Whatever will we do? So they might recover a little bit based on the fact that they'll actually be able to construct stuff and actually be able to stimulate their economy. We hope not. But also, we could just release them from our customs union, which will probably actually jack them up a decent amount and hope that they rev. I don't think we're going to do this, but this is something we could consider. But if both the bankrolls on Great Britain and France are broken, I think that this makes us going Council Republic much, much more attractive. We're not going to do that right now, but this is something we could do down the line, just kind of as a final salvo, just go communist, and maybe actually go high infamy, something like this. Great Qing, we really, really would like Great Qing to get down below 355 so they can be an unrecognized regional power, after which point we can just subjugate them, but yeah. Well, I think we're going to conclude the episode here. I know it's been a little bit of a short one, but these are taking quite a long time to do, and I don't have enough time left before something I need to go do IRL, so that's getting in the way. But this episode, we tried to get construction up to like 15k, really, really struggling to keep it going. Quite a lot of pain, but we did get it up to 12k. But I think the more amusing and funny part of this is we got Great Britain into the market. Yep, Great Britain's in the American Customs Union. They're not a subject, they're just in the Customs Union. And as far as things are going, with these guys, we are siphoning off pops, it appears, quite well. This was our trade, the Uber deal that we did, cutting these guys down, but they are just hemorrhaging population at this point. Look, this is when they joined our market, and now they're just like hemorrhaging pop quite quickly, which is going to hurt them more and more and more. They're still paying us a bankroll. France is not paying us a bankroll, so France is probably at some point going to want to like leave our market, and that's okay. We'll siphon off pops until they do, but I think that what we're going to be doing next episode is going to be going after Russia, because we can open market on them. It's wild that they have a 30% chance of just backing down because the expected military power difference. Considering, like, it's not like we world conquested this. Well, I mean, like, in some sense, this is somewhat like a world conquest, because in terms of the world's pops, we have, like, half now. And that's with Qing still in the game. We have, like, half the world population. But anyways, this is kind of probably what we do next episode, something like this, because we did have this play pop up. I don't know if we want to... Well, we could just give up Bremen as a thing, but we are going to kind of be bricked in our ability to yo-yo sway. We have quite a bit of infamy. We can maybe go after Russia a little bit and look to open their market. Not ever enforce the open market CB. We don't actually want them to have free trade, but instead go open market and then do something like release Perm, release Poland, something like that, and put those as primary, and then look to just smack around Russia a little bit, something like this, and maybe pull Perm into our customs union, much like how we did Ukraine. Ukraine's population has been steadily decreasing. That's just been siphoning off towards us. Really, really getting a lot from both the intermarket and the mass migrations. Just a quick check of our mass migration attraction, because I know you guys, this is what this run's about. Okay, it's bugged. Is it bugged? No, okay. So we are number one with Scandinavia, next followed by Prussia. Scandinavia, of course, we'll clap them at some point, but yeah, man, Scandinavia is doing okay, but we are 3x the next guy. We're starting to incorporate more African states, which is actually pretty bad for us considering I messed up earlier in terms of being able to get it to the point where they would incorporate in 5 years, which would have been much nicer. We're incorporating largely ones that have some resources, as well as a lot of arable land. We don't want to drag down our average, but overall this will be good. This is kind of how our incorporation strategy looks. You'll notice there's a few we left off, like District of Columbia, Maryland, and Delaware, and we left these off because they don't have a lot of arable land. They would have pulled down our average, and we care about that, and so that's why we didn't incorporate them, and so that's also why we're leaving some of these off, and so this is kind of our current strategy as it stands. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing, and other than that, have a good day.